right, everybody. Disclaimer. This is going to be a conversation. A conversation that might require uncomfortable conversation. You'll see why I'm saying that in a minute, because I know that we're in a very sensitive place. It's society. I hate that word, but we are in a sensitive place where speaking certain things are frowned upon. But it's film, and that's what we talk about here. So, don't get rage baited. And I'm only saying that because I know some people will get rage baited. I know people who get rage baited. So we're gonna touch on some things involving masculinity and femininity, and it's gonna be perfectly fine for me. But I know some people might get triggered. So here is your trigger warning. Okay. The last few days have been a dream. I saw Obsession, and I got to talk about that. I got to talk about the Wildwood trailer. I got to rediscover Mr. Jones, and I got to talk about Marama, which was on my top 5 movies of this month, and it did not disappoint. I brought to you guys fresh fruit. We sat together at the Gospel of Cinema, and we swayed back and forth to the words of the cinema gods. Well, I can't say that we're doing that today, because the fruit that I'm bringing to you guys is very much rotten. It's kind of a rotten one. But it's one that I was like really looking forward to. It's called Is God Is. And I saw this trailer last month, and I thought that it was dripping in unique. It had a unique look. It was dripping in aesthetic. It was dripping in this sort of Southern Gothic folk look that I feel is missing from a lot of modern movies. I feel like that's just such a no-brainer setting for horror films or for any film, really. It's kind of cheap to shoot in the swamps of Louisiana, Virginia, Florida, and it's not used enough. Interview with a Vampire, True Blood, Hatchet. We should have more of those films. And this film is very much taking place in the swamps of Virginia, but I believe shot in Louisiana. This film already had the look. I was already very much intrigued, and I was excited because a lot of you have been asking, are there any more folk horror films that you could recommend? And I was like, oh, I might be able to recommend one today, because this was very much leaning into that look, that aesthetic, folk, southern, deep southern folklore. Like, it was just, the pillars were there. On top of it, touching on a bunch of themes involving femininity, divinity, masculinity, theology, faith, power, community, parenting, like so much stuff this movie touched on. Before I get into that, the story just follows twins who have been estranged from their mother, who they long thought to be dead. But she comes back with a letter saying, I need to see you girls. I have one thing to ask you before I actually die this time. And the wish is that they kill their father, who not only left them, abandoned them, changed his entire fucking name, but set them on fire as a goodbye. And that's it. He smoked a cigarette on the doorstep of the house, and then he just left, never to see them again. They agree to committing to this mission. At least one of them does. The other one's a little skeptical. One of the sisters is considered the quiet one. She's the one that's been like horribly disfigured. Her face is gone. Her chest is horribly disfigured. And the practical makeup was actually really impressive, and it looked really believable. And the aggressive one, considered the pretty one by people in the film, has her entire arm completely burned and has this like Danny DeVito hand fin thing going on from the Penguin from Batman. The aggressive sister is very much for this. Matter of fact, the one moment she gets to feel what it's like to beat the ever-living fuck out of someone, she starts realizing, maybe I can do this. And then the quiet one, well, she wants nothing to do with it, but she's sticking by her sister's side simply because her sister has been the only one to ever show her any love, any care. Anytime anyone calls her ugly, she beats the ever-living fuck out of them, and that's it. They have the most pure love for each other that obviously subverts those of normal siblings because they're twins. So much so, and the movie makes it a point to let you know they can communicate telepathically. There are moments in the movie where you see subtitles and you see them facially acting, but nothing's being said because they're communicating. If I've got any twins watching this, because I don't know shit about siblings, I'm an only idiot, let me know if this is like actually a thing. But between those characters and the revenge tale and also the deep south gothic swamp folk aesthetic, the first act of this movie, the first 20 to 30 minutes, I was on board. There was a strangeness to it. There was a weird uniqueness to it. It's so mangled in themes it doesn't explore And I know that most movies, not all movies, have to be deep and layered, but if you're gonna touch on this shit, why wouldn't you? You're gonna touch on faith, you're gonna touch on theology, you're gonna touch on the bad and good sides of femininity and masculinity, and you're just gonna be like, no, we just want you to know that we know those things exist. Because we need to fill words on a page, and we need pages to make a script, and we need a script to make a movie. So here they are at face value. Fuck you. It was such a missed opportunity because a lot of these themes exist in things like Neil Gaiman's American Gods, the show, the graphic novels, the novel. These exist in his material, and they're much more literal there, like they're literal embodiments of the god of technology and Zeus, and there's so much in those. They're incredible, by the way. Please, if you haven't read them or watched the show, even though the last season isn't great, but it's worth just knowing they exist. And this touches on all those subjects, down to the sort of Southern aesthetic that comes with the illustrations of Neil Gaiman. Like it's just, it's interesting, but this is much more literal, and the only reason I'm referencing them is because the themes that they explore are explored here, and also a sort of Southern curtain. This also got me excited because there's a game I really love, and allow me to pull out the nerdy game bag for a second. There's this game I love called South by Midnight, and if you like hack and slash third person games, it's about a young woman who's looking for her mother, who got taken by a hurricane that destroyed Louisiana, and she has to basically explore the underworld of the swamps, and all these creatures and folklore and superstition from the South come to life, and it's beautiful. But the aesthetic is, and by the way, it's a stop motion game mixed with 3D animation. Absolutely incredible. You should play it if you're into gaming and you like stories and good characters. Fantastic. But anyway, the point is that kind of setting is underutilized, and I was so excited to see it here. I was excited to see this journey of these two opposing sisters, because while they love each other, they have opposing ideas and ideals about what should happen. The quiet one doesn't want to be a part of this. She's like, we're being used. We haven't seen our mother. We thought she was dead. And the other one's just, ironically, the one that isn't disfigured, who is loved by, not loved, but constantly being told how beautiful she is in comparison to her sister, is the one that's like seeking that love from her mother more. And her mother's, Vivica A. Fox, is completely burnt. So much so that it's actually causing her to slowly die. And she's the one that's bloodthirsty and is pushing for this journey. And so along the way, we meet all these interesting characters that connect them closer and closer to their father, played by Sterling K. Brown, who plays a complete and utter psychopath, dressed like Bryan Cranston from Breaking Bad. He has sociopathic eyes, but he's very soft-spoken. But imagine if I spoke to you like this and I told you I just wanted to skin you alive, and I don't blink, but my eyes are a little moist because I'm excited from telling you that. That's what he plays, and he plays an incredible. Like, he's incredible in this. He's incredible in everything he's in. He's one of the best parts in the movie The Predator. He's also he's got a show called Paradise that, if you're into conspiracy theories, you're gonna love. It's so good. It's on Hulu. Watch it. But he's great in this. But this movie just fucking ruins everything that was working for it. First, the characters are not likable. You spend the entire time trying to. You're on a road trip. This is a road trip revenge film. You are on the road with them. And there's nothing that redeems any of these characters at all, except the sister, the quiet one, who is blatantly trying to be redeemable by just not getting her hands dirty at all. Everyone in this film, particularly the men, and this is why I know that this review might be divisive, or the film might be divisive. The message of this movie is, if you have a dick, just cut it off, shove it in your mouth, and jump off something really tall. Even at a certain point where we're introduced to another pair of twins, and they're supposed to reflect our main the main twins that we're following, the one that is supposed to reflect the quiet one is nice. He's well put together. He feels at odd with his better looking brother. He is out of nowhere, within the flip of an ass hair, just decides that he wants to start killing someone. But you know why they don't fill you in on this? You know why they don't foreshadow it? You know why they don't take the time to build him up to making you think that maybe he can do that? Because you should already know that men are bad. Don't trust a single one of them. And if it has a dick in this movie, it will try to kill you, rape you, maim you, or all three of them. It lacks so much nuance. The film's title is God Is. God is referring to their mother. She created her, so to them, she is God. God wouldn't want us to do this. God would want us to finish this. God this, God that. What does it mean that their dad was still a part of the procreation, was part of that process? And yeah, he's a piece of shit, but it's also the film's fault for only making him this one-dimensional character, where his reasoning for burning his wife and his two kids that he had alive is she wouldn't let me hold her. That's it. Then they make it an extra point to make him so traditional that his only response to someone that isn't traditional is to beat the ever-living fuck out of them if they don't do what he says, and then leaves to find another family. Because apparently this guy does this shit. He finds a family, he beats the shit out of the wife, he doesn't like what they're doing, he resets. There's no nuance behind his character. You don't have to vindicate his actions, you don't have to validate him, you don't have to make him a good person. But these subjects of abuse and traditional values and divinity and masculinity are all just stripped down to men suck, and worst of all, an eye for an eye is okay. Because the way that this movie ends, no deeper conversation about how hard it is to take a life, no deeper conversation about if this even changes anything. At one point, one character says, isn't it better to forgive and forget? And we move past that shit so fucking fast because no, that's not the point. We're not even going to have a conversation or acknowledge that someone said that. No one responds to her when she says that. We just move on to, all right, how are we going to gut this fucker? And the movie doesn't even do anything subversive. Towards the end, I thought that, hey, maybe the point is fuck all this masculinity, femininity shit. Maybe it's about just being human. Maybe it's about an eye for an eye doesn't matter. At least don't fumble that message. And I thought that we were going to subvert expectations and make the one sister that's on a blood path, for whatever reason, other than her mom is just woman, that she was going to suddenly realize, you know what? This isn't right. I shouldn't. And then that the tragedy would be that her other sister, the quiet one who was never on a blood path but admires her so much, was led astray so much by the love they shared and the example she was setting, that then she would let the aggression and the anger, reach her. And then she would be the one that would commit the atrocity. And then the message would be, if you set this example will lead you down a path that affects not just you, but everyone around you. Therefore, an eye for an eye is not the way that we should move. That's a crazy, philosophical, layered idea that we should have explored. Nah, fuck that. They kill him, they set him on fire, the aggressive one dies just because she slipped on the fire and gets pulled in, and that's it. Happily ever after. And do we ever reference the mom? God? No. We only see her at the beginning. We never go back to her to let her know, hey, we did it. She never says, thank you. She doesn't resent or regret putting her daughters on this trail. As a matter of fact, when we present her, she is sitting on a bed with a floral pattern curtain behind her and 3 other women braiding her hair like she is just this deity sitting on her throne. So if your message is an eye for an eye and women are all, then why is Vivica Fox's character such an unredeemable bitch? Because she set her young daughters on a blood path that completely altered their lives without even thinking twice about what it would do to them, their lives. Not even, hey, go find someone you can really love. Don't make the mistakes I have. Fall in love when you're ready. And don't make these mistakes. I should have never sent you on that path. And it's just, to me, I think a movie that has such a singular idea, especially one of extremes, where there is no nuance, there is no, hey, think about this. What am I really trying to say? And your blatant message is just this, then what's the journey? What am I questioning? Who are my affiliations? Where am I going to be challenged as a person to see it? And listen, I know that you're going like, oh, it's a revenge film. Like, chill. If you see this movie, you will understand. It touches on all of these themes and presents them to you to let you know they exist. Only gives you the version it wants to tell you about. and then it lets the entire movie move forward without a single arc, without any redeemable characters that are male or female, because I just described to you out the nurturing mother figure of this film is the one leading her children onto this path, yet she is depicted as this divine deity person sitting on a throne while other women just braid her hair. And I was like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, this movie's not going to go down the route I thought it was going to go. I'm not sensitive to this shit at all, but like, at least make a good movie. You know what I mean? Make an entertaining one. So yeah, man, that was the film. Is God is. The streak had to end somewhere, somehow, at some time, at some point. But hey, maybe tomorrow will be a new day. It is a new day. I will bring you fresh fruit, fresh salmon, and we will hold hands and sway in the church of cinema, and we will hum a humming hum to hum all hums. But until then, I will see you guys at the movies.